Hi, Mr. Driver. That means you're being a little bit too much of a driver. That kind of opens up that communication with the team that says, okay, I just have a lot going on right now, and I didn't like that idea, but maybe I haven't thought it through enough.
Right.
Does that help you?
Open mind with a filter.
Open mind with a filter. Perfect. Okay, there you are. Getting back to you. Don't fire me. The driver actually is the most misunderstood personality in real estate, quite honestly, because they are very focused, very driven, and always about business, but they're working in an expressive world, okay? The I personalities, so think about it, 70% of all sales agents are the I personality. So 70% of the people in the world need to like you, and they want to chat with you, they want to talk with you, and only 10% of the agents in industry are drivers, okay? That means 1 out of 10 are a driver, and 7 out of 10 are the expressive. In a real estate office, sometimes the driver is very misunderstood. People are thinking because they just walk in and they're on their phone and they go straight to their office without talking to anyone, that they don't like anyone. That's not really true. They're just, again, they're always thinking business. And so in your offices, that you know, when you're working with these drivers, don't look at it just think, I don't think I like them because I don't think they like me. Just realize, oh, wow, you know, I wish I had their focus, I wish I had their drive. Because that is something that they're really good at. But this one is really good at engaging with people. And this is a great buyer's agent. If you were going to hire someone to manage your team, so let's say Mike gets to a point where he's got 3 or 4 other people he's got to add to the team, and Mike wants to have someone oversee his team, what might be a good personality? It could be, but you know what, Mike, you could still stay like right closer to where you're at, like an amiable driver even. The amiable would have the people skills and the compassion, but the driver is still strong, because if you're going to have someone leading the team, because your team all has a driver personality, and you probably actually would have to keep your manager of your overall team. If you step out of that role and put a manager in charge of your team, you still need to keep them in part of that D personality, but you do want to be the stronger of the 2 personalities. So actually the amiable driver would be really good. The amiable driver is also a very good management trait. So when we're helping people hire managers for offices, that's a great trait because it displays leadership, but compassion. So that would be a really good manager for you. The amiable personality, they move a little slower. They're the support people in the world. This is the person that likes being behind the scenes, and they would prefer to make everyone else look good. And we all have these people in our life. I call them the Buddha holds the world together. My daughter Kelly is amiable. Sweetest child in the world, always has been, has never given me 1 bit of grief. My other 2, on the other hand, are more like me, so of course they give me a lot of grief over their life. But this one is the one who would prefer to make someone else feel great. This is the support person. So over here, if the driver is the airline pilot, okay, this is the risk taker, so having people's lives in their hand is comfortable with them. Airline pilot, this is your flight attendant. Doctor, nurse, school administrator, school teacher, okay? So the opposite personality from the driver is this one, okay? The driver is the risk taker. The amiable one is more of a, they don't like risk, and they don't like change. So and this is a very, very good team leader, because here's the traits that they have that make them good team members. Wherever you're at, again, try to surround yourself with people that have similar values, but at the same time can get the job done. Okay? So jumping over to the expressive might be great for a buyer's agent, and they might be a lot more assertive than you, but they're still going to have that loyalty factor. And the analytical personality, do we have any analytical team leaders in the room? No. Actually, we usually do have a few. So the analytical, oh, we have one? Oh, here we are. Sorry, and what is your name, please? Connie? Hi, Connie. How you doing? Good. So Connie is more the analytical personality. How many people in your team, Connie?
3 plus 2.
3 plus 2. 2 assistants. Great. Very good for you. And where on the grid are most of your team members, would you say?
Probably expressive analytical.
Is expressive analytical. Is that where you're at right now, Connie? You're right here?
She's the analytical expressive.
Right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are primarily, I personality is primarily expressive with secondary analytical. And are your team members more towards the center of the grid?
Expressive analytical. The very side. Yep.
Perfect, very good fit for you. It's your same personality, just flip-flop. So this is a more organized, structured individual for you. And so that's going to be a really good fit. Excellent. Good. So same thing here. When you are in the middle, you actually have the ability to relate to all four personality styles very easily. So that's a great place to be as a team leader as well. The analytical personality, again, they're very logical, very even-keeled personality. Things are never too crazy in one direction or the other. Would that be correct word for Connie? And you can kind of see that here from Connie's face. I won't make you stand up and look around the room, but yeah, I know. Yeah, because that would not be a comfortable thing for you. How many of you know Connie? Do we like Connie? Yeah. Of course you would. Everyone would like Connie. She's not personality grid, so thank you, Connie. This is a sheet from a group that we did just recently. We worked with. They were all team leaders in the room. Only team leaders, no team members. And look what this one looks like. Actually, a couple people brought spouses, which actually ended up outside the grid. So you see where we're at right here? Like, look at all the people that are in this quadrant. So what does that tell you if these were all team leaders? That the predictive behavior pattern means that this is a driver trait, analytical trait combined with expressive. It actually almost feels like driver too, so it's a logical trait with that emotional one. And so predictive behavior just means that if we look at what is the behavior pattern that we're going to see in many of our team leaders, it's going to again have that driver combined with people skills. So it's emotion and logic in each of those scenarios, which is really good because it allows you to work with all of the team members. We didn't get all of you on the board here, but we'll leave the board up here if you want to put your names on it or whatever afterwards. But even on that board, we see a higher concentration right there, that little part right there. Interesting, huh? So let's test you. Let's see how well you are determining behavior patterns. Are you ready? So we're going to have you tell us what the behavior of this person is. What do you think? Expressive, exactly. Some people think driver because she's got her arms folded, but this is a very casual picture of her. So what allows you to think right away that she's expressive? The face, right. That is a very natural smile, and she's also, you can see the assertiveness in her face. So if you met this agent and she said, well, I'd love to work on your team, right away you can think, well, she's got great people skills. She's outgoing, she's very expressive, very emotional. It's a little bit of a strong side to her, so her secondary trait might be driver, but this is kind of like your typical sales agent there. What about this one?
Analytical.
Maybe analytical. Could be a little, even amiable, but you see how hers is the fake smile? See how she's not really comfortable smiling so much? So that might be the more that analytical smile. It's just kind of that little uncertainty, like uncomfortable being in front of the camera. So you'll see that with that personality. By the way, is our photographer still here? Oh, there you are. What is your name, sir?
Scott.
Hi, Scott. I have to ask you a question because I never really have the honor of having the photographer in the room, but I've been told this, that a photographer, if you're taking photographs of someone, that there's a certain number of stances that you put them into. So you will have everybody pose like this, you'll have people pose like this, you'll have people that, are just, like this. Is there a specific reason on your part, or is that just like in doing a headshot of an individual or just a business profile? Is there a reason for all of that? I mean, I have my own reason, but I wanted to ask you as a photographer.
Well, usually make sure which is the most comfortable position for them to be standing in, which is the most open visual body language that would be presenting themselves.
Great. So what he said was what I would think too, and you're looking to see what's the most comfortable position for them. Now, if you have let's say Scott takes your photograph, and he poses you a lot of different ways. Who's going to pick which photograph gets used in your marketing? You do, right. So what happens is you will pick the one that you think best describes who you are as a person, that really expresses who you are. But I'm sure that Scott sees that some people are folding their arms, it's not comfortable at all for them. And some people are leaning forward naturally, and some people are not comfortable in front of the camera. So now Scott, after today, what you'll kind of know about certain people is if they're not comfortable in front of the camera, they're on that left side. But we do pick the photograph that's most comfortable for us. So I want you to think, because I'm going to show you some photographs, when you are picking your business photograph, are you going to appeal to all four behavior patterns? Because really, you're in people business. versus picking a pattern that just says, this is who I am as that, again, driver or that high expressive. How about this lady? What's her personality style? Definitely not emotional, is she? That's the driver. Okay, so she's a driver. Now again, if she picked that photograph, this is a person who picked this photograph for a business photograph. This is her profile photo. So what, now how many of you look at that photograph and you're thinking, I would never do business with that person? You know, like she scares daylights out of me. But other people look at her and think, why, what's wrong with that photograph, okay? So again, depending upon your behavior pattern, you may or may not connect with that person. But if I were her coach and I'm helping her pick a photograph for real estate that is going to appeal to everyone, I'm going to soften it up a little bit. I'm going to force her to go outside her comfort zone, perhaps in the photographs that she selects, but one that's better for marketing purposes. So this is, I throw this in here because this is a very specific personality that a lot of people don't know. What do you think? It is a driver. Very good. The driver personality, you know why that's the driver? If you see someone that's very flamboyant, doing something that's just crazy wild, why is that the driver? They're outgoing, they're bold.
They're not shy.
They're not shy. They're bold, they're fearless, they're not shy, and they're marketing geniuses. So this guy knows that if you see that photograph of him, you're going to remember him. So if you look on television, you sometimes see commercials and you just think, that is so crazy. It will be the one you remember though. And so this person is really good at marketing, but you'll see that there's no smile there. But for him to have that photograph, that is that driver face right there, very bold, very in your face. How about these two individuals? Very amiable, right? See, it almost looks shy. See, so whenever like your feeling is always like, "Aw, I like them." That's almost always that amiable personality. But how about their salesperson here? Probably expressive, right? So he's got some good people skills, but they're definitely a lot more emotional on that left. How that guy? Probably analytical, right? Could be a driver, but definitely logical face. So that is, again, these are all business profiles of sales agents that I pulled for different agents. So this guy thinks this is the best way to show you who he is as an agent. If you're very logical, you're going to pick that person and go, well, finally, a person that'll just give me the facts. If you're emotional, though, do you want that photograph? Probably not.
Analytical or amiable?
Amiable as well, right. So you're going to see that amiable, that passiveness. Driver, I see. So most drivers, and you'll always see, look how comfortable he is. So for him, he's not being close. That's the most important thing to remember about the drivers. Like when they're standing, they're just like this. Okay, that's called unrelaxed. But for most, 75% of people in the world are going to look at that and think, not approachable. And when people are listing their house with you or communicating with you, they're looking at that too. So team leaders, if you're looking at your buyers, agents, and your administrative people, also, it doesn't matter, you can be like that in life, because you will be, but if you're looking at your marketing for your team, what's going to really be the best? Now, out of these three photographs right here, these three young ladies, one's a buyer's agent, one's an admin person, and one is an accountant.
Buyer's agent.
Who's that? First lady over here on the far left. Buyer's agent, right, and what's her personality style? Expressive. In the middle. The analytical, the accountant, right? On the far right?
Amiable.
Amiable, and she's the admin person on that team. So you can almost see here that this team, the people that are in their roles, are really into their roles for that team, and they're in there. How about, again, what about your clients? So today we want you to take this not only with regard to how do you pick the right team members for your team, but also think about, and it's great for those of you that have your team members here, who's going to best connect with the client. And when you're sitting there in the client's house, keep in mind that depending on their behavior pattern, maybe if they're more logical, more sensible, that person that can connect with them better is a little bit more, has a little bit more of that amiable or analytical trait in them, whereas some are just going to be highly expressive. This is my favorite team photograph. Don't you love this team? So there's four people on the team. There's a real team photo. The real estate team. So there's one administrator in the team. Which one's that? Little hit this one right here. Look at her face. Now, a lot of people think that she looks what? Scared. Of course, you would be scared too if this was your team. She usually kind of scared me. But really, what she's probably is she's analytical. So this team did do the right job by hiring the analytical personality. The analytical personality is not comfortable being in front of the camera, so it's not that the team is scaring her, it's more that she's not necessarily comfortable being in this team shot. She would far rather let them take their own photograph, but they picked one to say, this is who's going to take care of your details. But look at her face, so it says logic. That means she's going to be very detail-oriented, very good at taking care of the details. And, but, what's the personality of all 14 members? Drivers. This is actually a family. So, now again, nothing really wrong with it, but they are like, for the client that is looking to get the job done, okay, and they just want that look, this is going to do it. Are there some people that might not like this as the team look? Sure. So again, there's a lot to the photographs that you use in your marketing. I thought this one's really fun because, you know, you again have the logical personality across there, but you've got this guy upside down, meaning that, you know, in a world where, you know, we're agents all look alike and everyone's kind of doing the same things, we're different. Now, who's this going to appeal more to? The expressives. Why does this appeal more to the expressives as well? Humor, right. The expressive, if you make them laugh or they look at something and laugh, and they instantly will like it. But at the same time, that driver, that logical, also likes that someone's doing something that stands apart. So this actually would appeal to a few more people than the last one did. So your team should always reflect your core values, but you also should hire to your weakness. What's the personality of each of these four? They're all expressive, and you can tell they're all completely expressive. Hopefully there's someone a little less expressive behind the scenes on your team. But if not, I can just guarantee they have a lot of fun working together, and they probably sell lots of real estate, they party a lot. But if they don't have someone that's a good administrator for their team, then hopefully the company does have some admin support behind the scenes for them. So sometimes, you know, it's starting to make sense that, you know, we all do something really well, but we also have that area that you want to kind to insert an area that you might not be as strong into. Right now, I'm going to stop for just a moment and ask for questions. You can ask based on your behavior pattern, what would be a good fit, anything that I haven't.
So for the photos, we kind of figured out which. I mean, is no photo better than one photo that's going to
No, I think
everyone? I mean,
no. For a team photo, do you have a team photo right now?
No.
Okay, you should definitely have one. You know, the team photo, even in the team bio, goes to your pre-listing kit. Do you use a pre-listing presentation, like pre-kit list in advance?
Yeah, it's in the works.
Okay, it's in the works. Great. I have some information. Yeah, I can send that to you if you want. I've got like a list of things that should go in that pre-list kit. Here's why the photograph is good. Half of the people in the world need to see who they're going to work with, and they need to develop a comfort level in advance. So if you've got a bio sheet on each one of your team members, and it talks about their strengths and what they do, and you've got the different faces there, then people automatically, the emotional agent connects to the face. And they're going to quickly say they like them or don't like them. With regard to yourself as the team leader, again, I would be careful not to have the not approachable photograph. I mean, you could actually have the arms here, you could be leaning forward, so leaning forward is also another sort of trait. But you're going to look strong just by your behavior pattern, no matter which of the photographs it's in. But, and everyone wants someone that's going to get the job done. So you can accomplish that without appearing as though they're not going to be able to communicate with you or call you if they've got a problem in a transaction. With regard to the team, again, I would not, you know, I wouldn't have the photograph where everyone's sitting with their arms folded. But you can have your hands, you know, just, you can actually, you know, just look for yourself, you know, what looks appealing. But I think it's great to have all the team members together. You can be, you know, I like this kind, well, I actually kind of like this kind of a shot where 4 people are together, and you can have, you know, 1 people bending in, or, you know, almost like that selfie kind of look to where you're all there. But make sure that you can, with 4 or 5 team members, if you can appeal to the amiable, which means that they have to, that you have to appear approachable, you have to appear fun, you have to appear so you'll get the job done, and that you're detail-oriented, and you can also reflect that in the bios of this is the person, make sure that, you know, we're compliant, and that this is the person that's in charge of the follow-through, and to make sure that everything gets done. Think of the 4 personalities and reflect that in the bios of each of your teams, and therefore when you drop that information off to that cell in advance and say, if you take a look at our team member bios, what you're going to see is that we have hired to the position, you know, that, you know, we've hired people that are great at follow-up, we've hired people that are great at detail, we've got a marketing genius within our group, we've got someone that's amazing with buyers, you know, and connects really well with people. And let that, you know, it's Mitchell, right?
Yes.
Mitchell? So Mitchell, you have your driver's side of your face shows when you're in your learning mode today, so I've been watching since you pointed out as the buyer's agent. So the driver's side can actually come out when you're working, but when you're photographed, I want to make sure your expressive photograph is showing, okay? And so, because you're the person on the team that's going to have that mostly, so make sure that your smile is big. Just to equate to that quadrant. But yeah, photographs are very important. Drivers typically, how many of you in the room that are a driver do not have your photograph on your card? Yeah, Mike. So the very typical drivers sometimes don't put their photographs on their card, you know, because it's just business. But we're in a people business, and so therefore everyone's photograph should be on their card. And again, your photograph on your card, when we're working with people, we look at the photographs on your card. You have to be approachable on that card. So everything should have your photograph on it. Yes?
Any suggestions when you're just starting to build a team and your first team member is your daughter?
Absolutely. And how lucky are you to have your daughter working with you on your team?
I'm thrilled.
You should be. What is your behavior pattern?
Expressive driver,
Okay, so is that on the top, the driver expressive or expressive driver?
bottom,
Okay, expressive driver. Great. What is your daughter's trait?
the opposite, driver expressive.
Oh, those are great working together. And so first off, those 2 personalities are very similar, except for yours is a little bit stronger as the team leader. That's going to work out really well.